After a North Texas woman sued to get an abortion, the state Supreme Court asked the medical board to provide more clarity. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Peyton Yeager. The board decided it's not in the business of interpreting the law. Fox 4's Stephen Dial spoke to the head of the Texas Medical Board and joins us. Stephen?
Peyton, this was our first time hearing from the head of the Texas Medical Board since the Supreme Court's opinion. He told me if the Supreme Court wants more clarity, it should be on lawmakers to clear up the text of the law. Kate Cox, a North Texas woman, made national headlines when she asked a state district court for permission to get an abortion. Doctors said her fetus had multiple complications, and at 20 weeks, she had already made repeated trips to the emergency room. Doctors told Cox her fetus was unlikely to survive, and giving birth would prevent her from having more children.
There's a lot of confusion and a desire for some clarity around things that inherently can't be clear because they are judgment calls.
And judgment is at the center of this case. The state Supreme Court issued an opinion saying the lower court overstepped its authority when it granted Cox permission for an abortion. The opinion said it is for doctors, not for the courts to decide. And doctors do not need to wait until a patient is within an inch of death or bodily impairment to perform an abortion. However, the plaintiff in a separate case says that doesn't match reality and that doctors are afraid of repercussions because the law is too vague. The Supreme Court suggested the state medical board provide clarity. Dr. Sharif Zafran is the president of the Texas Medical Board.
I can't comment specifically as to what we'll do because those court decisions are still pending out there. But in general, regardless of whatever guidance we give, I don't think that's going to give the answers that folks want out there, which is clarity as to what a specific hypothetical situation might entail. We just inherently can't do that.
Zafran told Fox 4 his board must follow the text of the law. He says the legislature should be the ones to provide more clarity with the restrictive abortion law.
We can't interpret the law. That's the job of the judiciary. But at the end of the day, if there is lack of clarity in the law, or if there needs to be more specifics in the law, that needs to come from the legislature. Example of that is specifically around ectopic pregnancies. That was very specifically laid out there, so there's no lack of clarity when it comes to specifically that issue. If that was not in the law, we as a medical board could not say, well, that is one exception.
Now, there has not been an update on if Cox had a successful procedure, and we have not gotten comment from her representation about their thoughts on the Supreme Court opinion.